I'm the human ATM. You order it. You can order it.
Oh, you can?
And when you order a certain amount, when you order millions of dollars, a Brinks truck comes to your home.
That was Floyd Mayweather just a few years ago. Confident, untouchable, and proudly branding himself as a human ATM. But fast forward to 2026, and a very different narrative is starting to circulate in elite circles. Rumors about the collapse of the money empire are spreading at an alarming rate.
And he told me, and I'm not gonna say who it is, but he's like, Mayweather's broke. I said, no. He's like, no, really, Mayweather's broke. Now, I don't know if it's true.
Right.
This is what this guy told me. I'm like, how could he be broke? He's like, yo, he spends like crazy.
Yes.
People have even started noticing signs that he may be offloading high-value assets to pay off debts, or worse, having them seized due to overdue obligations. By conventional logic, the ultra-wealthy rarely let go of their symbols of power, unless they're scrambling in a desperate cash crunch. So maybe, just maybe, these aren't just baseless internet rumors. Here are 6 real, verifiable financial warning signs surrounding the Floyd Money Mayweather empire in 2026. Let's break down the truth right now. The first sign, and by far the loudest alarm bell, is the wave of sell-offs involving assets that were once considered his priceless crown jewels. Those ultra-luxury mansions, quiet yet dripping with money, in the most prime locations of Beverly Hills and Miami, have begun appearing on the market one after another. Don't be too quick to assume these are just routine transactions to rebalance an investment portfolio. In the world of the ultra-wealthy, private jets and mega mansions aren't simply homes or means of transportation. They are crowns and scepters, symbols of status, and an untouchable ego. Take a look at how Money Mayweather has been handling his real estate portfolio recently. In December 2024, Realtor.com confirmed that he sold his Palm Island mansion in Miami Beach for $22 million, after purchasing it in 2021 for $18 million. On the surface, it looks like a profitable deal. But the real shock, the clearest evidence of potential cash flow concerns, came from the West Coast. Most recently, in April 2026, The Real Deal revealed a jaw-dropping transaction that left the real estate world stunned. A Beverly Hills mega mansion that Mayweather had confidently listed at a sky-high $48 million was ultimately dumped at an almost unbelievable $27 million. A devastating collapse in value. From the perspective of financial elites, people at this level rarely part with such symbols of power, unless they are truly cornered and desperate for cash. This is no longer just about losing assets. Floyd is increasingly unable to hold on to his most prized possessions. This isn't bad luck, it's one of the clearest warning signs of a broken cash flow. But before we dive deeper into the reasons why this legendary fighter may now be sitting on a financial time bomb, let's take a moment to revisit the dominant figure. He once was inside the ring. 50 fights, 50 wins, 27 of them by knockout. With a record like that, he earned the nickname the Undefeated King. Scroll through any social media platform or major media outlet, and it's easy to find the 6 highest-grossing boxing matches in history. Half of them belong to Floyd Mayweather. The most iconic, of course, was the fight of the century against Manny Pacquiao in May 2015. According to Boxing News, the event generated $419.2 million from pay-per-view and $73.9 million from ticket sales. Mayweather walked away with $281.3 million, while the Filipino legend earned $153.6 million. By 2017, at the age of 40, Floyd Mayweather officially announced his retirement. But no matter how praised his glory in the ring once was, it now seems unable to mask the cracks of an emerging financial pressures. The dream of a lavish retirement is gradually being replaced by an unprecedented financial storm in 2026. If being forced to grit his teeth and offload those expensive toys in sign 1 was only the tip of the iceberg, then the second sign drags us into a much darker, more suffocating picture, a full-blown real estate nightmare. Thick stacks of legal documents are no longer recording lucrative deals by Money Mayweather. Instead, they reveal a cold, hard reality. Several commercial properties under his name are teetering on the edge of foreclosure. This is not a strategic asset reshuffle like the kind billionaires typically execute. This is the potential unraveling of his core business foundations, and the situation becomes even more bitterly ironic when you look at the very properties once tied to his carefree, money-splashing lifestyle. The most striking example is Girl Collection, the infamous Las Vegas strip club that once served as a playground of excess, where countless cash rain moments were created by Floyd himself night after night. Ironically, that same flashy venue is now being repeatedly called out by authorities with stern warnings for failing to pay taxes. According to media reports in late 2025, the most immediate concern centers on the Las Vegas building that houses Mayweather's strip club, Girl Collection. Business Insider reports that the property is at risk due to more than $52,000 in unpaid property taxes and penalties. It is not an isolated incident, but part of a broader pattern that has unfolded over the last year and a half. Now pause for a second and think about that. $52,000. For a man who once pocketed nearly $300 million in a single night against Manny Pacquiao, that amount is barely a blink less than one of the cheapest watches in his collection. And yet now, the so-called human ATM is allowing his own money-making machine to face possible shutdown over such a trivial sum. That alone suggests his cash flow is facing serious trouble. And the headaches don't stop there. The decline is spilling over into his private retreats as well. Even the luxury condos bearing his name at the Trump International Hotel Las Vegas have been caught up in an embarrassing legal mess, according to reliable report. During the summer, Clark County seized 2 condominiums Mayweather owns at Trump Las Vegas residences over unpaid taxes. The properties were later returned after a payment of roughly $21,000. Based on figures revealed in recent financial reports, Floyd's economic picture is flashing red. He is reportedly carrying a massive loan of around $54 million. Even more concerning, the interest rate on this loan is hovering close to 9%. This is the third warning sign I want to highlight. Anyone who understands how the financial world operates knows a fundamental rule. When you have strong, stable cash flow, debt can be an excellent leverage tool used to maximize returns and expand an empire. But the entire equation flips when your cash flow starts drying up, stalling, and weakening. In that situation, a 9% interest rate on tens of millions of dollars is no longer leverage. It becomes a significant interest burden, relentlessly dragging an entire personal financial system toward collapse. According to reports from Business Insider and Ringside 24, Don Hankey, a specialty lender focusing on high-risk financing, facilitated a significant loan to Mayweather earlier in 2024, summing up about $54 million, with an interest rate hovering around 9%. The collateral used for this agreement included homes, Girl Collection, and even a private jet. Now let's do some simple math. At that rate and scale, the interest payments alone could cost him nearly $5 million per year. That's money evaporating, silently creating no added value, yet steadily eroding his overall wealth in a ruthless way. Looking at this reality, one thing becomes clear. This is not the mark of a sharp financial strategy from a seasoned billionaire, someone who supposedly masters the art of making money make money. Instead, these numbers expose a far more uncomfortable truth behind the dazzling image. That extravagant lifestyle. The supercars, luxury brands, and those jaw-dropping moments of casually throwing around cash that people admire daily on social media may not be built on true financial strength. In fact, that glamorous facade could very well be propped up, inflated, and sustained in a dangerously fragile way by borrowed money. And when we talk about cash flow, there's one companion that always shows up in every financial crisis of the ultra-wealthy: the tax authorities. The fourth warning sign is Floyd's long, complicated history of tax debt and a cash flow problem that has never truly been resolved. According to AP News, Historical Tax Debt, and Ringside 24, 2025 to 2026 reports, the pattern stretches back years. It began in 2009 when he owed $6.4 million. Between 2015 and 2017, the IRS hit him with $22.2 million in taxes from his record-breaking $250 million earnings from the Manny Pacquiao fight. More recently, in 2025 to 2026, ongoing property-related taxes have pushed his total tax burden back above $22 million. However, to take a fair and complete view of this financial picture, there's one crucial point that must be made clear. Floyd is not broke, nor is he assetless. On paper, his net worth remains enormous, still the kind of figure most people can only dream of. But the real fatal blow lies in a fundamental and unforgiving concept in finance: liquidity. The worst-case scenario here is that he appears to be facing a severe cash shortage at the exact moment his entire system is demanding urgent capital injection. The harsh reality is this: You can hold hundreds of millions of dollars in assets, but if those assets are tied up in luxury car collections, designer goods, or massive mansions, they become practically meaningless when legal obligations come due. Because when the tax authorities come knocking with a final notice, there's only one thing they accept: cash. Not assets waiting to be appraised, not properties waiting to be sold. And it's precisely this timing mismatch that becomes the most ruthless blade of all, cutting off financial flexibility and turning every attempt to maneuver out of trouble into a painfully difficult, near impossible equation. A crisis never stops at just one point. Like a domino effect, when limited cash flow can no longer fill the massive hole created by mounting tax obligations, the entire payment network sustaining a king-like lifestyle begins to shake, exposing serious cracks beneath the surface. That brings us to the fifth warning sign: a surge of legal disputes and unpaid luxury expenses now hanging in limbo due to a lack of cash flow. The most striking example of this image collapse comes from a shocking case recently exposed by the media. In stark contrast to his usual image of reckless spending on social media, Floyd was revealed to be heavily behind on rent at the Baccarat Hotel, one of the most iconic ultra-luxury hotels in New York. Specifically, according to Business Insider, since mid-2025, he had delayed payments on a staggering $100,000 per month residence. This delay eventually crossed the line, leading to a formal lawsuit demanding more than $330,000 in overdue rent. What makes this even more ironic, and perhaps the clearest evidence of a cash shortage, is that the lawsuit proceeded despite a prior agreement between both parties to settle the debt through installment payments. This incident lands like a slap to the face of his lavish image, exposing a reality where his financial defense system may be shaking at its very core. And it reveals a fascinating psychological insight into how people behave in times of crisis. On the surface, Floyd's luxurious lifestyle remains untouched. In front of the cameras, he's still dressed in high-end fashion, still driving exotic cars, still projecting the aura of a billionaire. But behind the scenes, the speed at which he pays his bills has clearly slowed down. He's still living like a billionaire, just paying like someone under pressure. This pattern is also reflected in his social media presence. On his personal accounts, he continues to post images of an extravagant lifestyle surrounded by stacks of cash. Despite comments from critics like "all poor men parade their money" or "money can't buy happiness," he remains unfazed, confidently leaving a caption that says, "I just be minding my business." But no matter how glamorous the image appears, when the money isn't there, a retired fighter facing a severe cash flow crisis usually has only one option left: step back into the ring. That brings us to the sixth warning sign: Floyd's unrealistically packed fight schedule after retirement. When a legend hangs up the gloves, the public expects him to step away from the spotlight and enjoy the power and immense wealth he's built. But the undefeated king, Floyd Mayweather Jr., has done the exact opposite. He's continued to lace up and return to the ring 8 more times. Ironically, the opponents across from him are no longer elite fighters like Oscar de la Hoya or Manny Pacquiao. Instead, he's stepping in with social media figures like YouTuber Logan Paul, MMA fighter Mikuru Asakura, and even fighting twice against John Gotti III, the grandson of a notorious mafia boss. From a purely professional standpoint, these matchups carry little real meaning. For a legend with a flawless 50-0 record, facing non-traditional opponents feels less like competition and more like a spectacle, almost a performance that risks diminishing his own legacy. This clear drop in standards raises a serious question among fans. Why would a billionaire who once stood at the peak of wealth and constantly claimed to live by his own rules be willing to risk his legendary status to trade punches with semi-professional fighters? The most logical and brutally honest answer: Mayweather may be running out of money. By 2026, the rumored opponent list has only fueled that suspicion. Names like Mike Tyson and even a potential rematch with Manny Pacquiao have dominated headlines. Now, let's break it down. At nearly 50 years old, for a fighter who has long declared retirement, jumping back into such a demanding and frequent fight schedule is highly unusual. Many sports and financial experts suggest this isn't purely about passion for boxing. Instead, it looks more like a cash grab tour. At this stage, with a perfect 50-0 legacy already cemented in history, these fights are no longer about proving anything to the world. The real purpose behind every drop of sweat in the ring in 2026 may be to inject cash and keep his struggling financial system alive. If you isolate each event or warning sign, you might find reasonable explanations. But when you place all 6 signs together on the same board, the overall picture becomes deeply concerning. It's true, Floyd Mayweather Jr. may not be bankrupt. That much is supported by people close to him. For example, WAC 100 quickly shut down rumors spread by 50 Cent saying,
Floyd is definitely not broke. Floyd is wealthy. You and I are broke compared to Floyd Mayweather.
Definitely.
We're like essentially homeless compared to Floyd
Always
Mayweather.
one of my.
So yes, he may still control a massive fortune. But the line between a billionaire enjoying wealth and a rich man who is cash poor is becoming dangerously thin. The story of Mayweather in 2026 is no longer just about a boxer. It's a powerful lesson. Making money is hard, but keeping it, especially under the crushing weight of luxury and excess, is exponentially harder. So, what about you? If you woke up with billions, would you spend endlessly to impress the world or stay disciplined and build a secure, quieter life? Drop your thoughts below. Let's talk.